Happy Saturday morning to you. What is the date today? My goodness, I am really bad about that. Oh, it's December 10th. Wow, we are a whopping, 15 days away from Christmas. My word. I hope you all are doing well. I thought I would jump on today because it's been a few weeks since I came on and gave you all an update. And every day when I post a video in the comment section, I see how so many of you are telling me that you are still thinking of us, praying for us, sending positive well wishes our way. And I just really want to say thank you so much to each and every one of you. We are on, I want to say week 11 since we found out Ray's diagnosis of gastric cancer at the age of 28. And it feels like my life came to a screeching halt. And it's this surreal feeling of your whole world comes to a halt and your life gets turned upside down, and there's this new normal that you have to accept and come to terms with. But then when you're at a place like the grocery store and you're standing in line and you're looking around at the world and the world just keeps going, it is a feeling that I remember feeling when my mom passed away, and it's hard. So with that being said, how is Ray doing? Ray is hanging in there. It hasn't been easy for him, but he is hanging in there. Starting treatment felt like it was a battle. It felt like it was a battle against the insurance company, which was super frustrating. You would think that with something like cancer that there would be some sense of urgency, and there just isn't. It really is kind of a let's hurry up and wait type of thing. A watched kettle never boils, and that was really kind of what it felt like through this. You know, as a mom, I'm looking at my son with cancer, that has metastasized to his liver, and all I keep thinking is, okay, I wanted the treatment to start the day after the diagnosis. Now, I know that that's not realistic, but you know what I mean by that, the analogy that I'm given there. I wasn't expecting it to take 10 weeks for treatment to start. And to me, that is just mind-blowing, and that really had nothing to do with his doctors or City of Hope, but it had everything to do with his insurance company. And Ray doesn't have bad insurance because of his job, which even blows my mind more. The bureaucracy, I guess, and the politics of insurance, So over the last month, before treatment started, Ray had acquired a fever, and it was bouncing between, I guess they don't really call anything under 100.4 a fever, but he had been bouncing between about 100 and 102. And so the reality of ER visits has entered our life, and gosh, with that, I don't want to make this a doom and gloom, but it's been hard because I live in California, I live in LA County, and COVID is going rampant here. There were 5,000 new cases just this past week. And so the hospitals aren't even letting anybody but the patient enter. And so I know that this is something that isn't new since COVID started, and there are millions of people who have had to leave their loved ones at the door and let them enter the hospital without them. And that was a reality that I was faced with. And it was hard for me because here my son is not with COVID, but with cancer, stage 4 that hasn't been treated yet. And he was scared to death that when he went in there, he was gonna find out that it had spread to his lymph nodes or his blood, and he was gonna be alone and dealing with this information. And I feel like when you have something like cancer and you're going through this, I feel like whenever there are tests involved, there's kind of an anxious feeling there of the unknown because treatment hadn't started, and you don't know if it's gonna spread. At some point, it's gonna spread without treatment. Was this the point that it started to spread without treatment? Who knows? But I can totally see where Ray's fear was coming from, and it was a long 10 hours in the hospital. I will tell you that the cancer has not spread to his lymph nodes or his blood. It is still just in his, esophagus and on his liver. And as of this past Tuesday, which was, oh my word, I want to say the 5th or the 6th, Ray did finally start treatment. It took about 4 weeks of Ray's doctor at City of Hope battling with the insurance company to get him approved for the immunotherapy. And this was something that Dr. Merla, his oncologist, felt super strongly about, that Ray needed the immunotherapy along with the 2 chemotherapies that Ray would be infused with every 14 days. They are going very aggressive on Ray, and they're going this aggressive on him because they feel like Ray can tolerate this therapy. The therapy that Ray is on is a chemo that they don't really give to anybody over the age of 45 because it is such an aggressive therapy and it is hard to tolerate because of the side effects. And so Ray went into it knowing what the side effects were and said that he was ready for this fight and this battle. And so I feel like it's one of those battles that you're going into that it's gonna get worse before it gets better, and you're just kind of prepping yourself and getting ready for that worst part and what you're going to endure before you start feeling better. And so the chemo that Ray is on every 14 days will be infused with the immunotherapy, and then he he starts off with hydration. He starts off with immunotherapy after that. Then he is infused with a medicine that is supposed to help with the side effects of the chemo. And then he is infused with 3 bags of his first of 2 chemos. And so just that alone took about 7 hours, which I think is pretty standard. Then before he goes home, they go ahead and hook up a chemo pump to his port. And this chemo pump time releases the chemo over, I want to say, a 30-hour period. And then he goes back once it indicates that it's empty, and they will remove the pump and flush his port, and then he is on his way to whatever side effects he is going to feel over the next however many days. So this was our first infusion, and I will say that the first 2 or 3 days Ray was fine. He came home and we were thinking like, wow, he dodged a bullet. He dodged, a lucky bullet of not being sick. But yesterday was Friday. He had his port or the pump removed on Thursday. Thursday he was feeling great. We walked around Costco. He ate a Jersey Mike's sandwich. But then yesterday, Friday, he got really sick. And so it must have been like a time released thing. I'm not really sure. But with that also came some hiccups that he got, which is such a random side effect. I feel like you just kind of feel like, you know, that's weird. But he ended up with hiccups for over 40 hours, which, my word, I can't imagine. I mean, imagine just being infused with chemo and then starting to feel bad. You don't want to get out of bed, and then you've got these hiccups that are just jerking your abdomen, your throat, everything's tightening up, and I just... He's a strong kid, he is, and although I'm not the one that's sick, it is really, really hard to watch your son, because I would switch places with him in a second. Luckily, they were able to give him a medicine to help the spasm of his diaphragm, because that's what the chemo did, the side effect is having his diaphragm will spasm. And so they did give him that, and it finally went away, and now Ray is just resting in bed, staying hydrated. That's kind of where we're at right now. One of the major side effects that Ray does have with this chemo that makes it so aggressive and hard for an older crowd to tolerate is the extreme sensitivity to cold. Now, we knew this going in. We didn't know about the hiccups going in, but we did know about the sensitivity to anything cold. And when I say that, it is eating or drinking anything cold will hurt him. If he touches anything cold, it will feel like he stuck his finger in a light socket. If anything cold touches his tongue, it is a very tingly, shocking sensation that he feels. He held a water bottle the other day, and it was room temperature. It was on his countertop, and he said it felt like when your feet go across the carpet and you touch somebody and it shocks them, that it felt like that, and he dropped it. When he got into the shower floor was cold, and that hurt him. That one was the worst. Touching the handle of the shower or the toilet flusher or even the sink has been kind of a shock. We bought a lot of carpets and runners for his kitchens and bathrooms because he's got the peel and stick wood flooring, and so it stays pretty cold. He's got gloves that are the touch screen gloves that we got at Costco so he can keep gloves on. We've put hand towels by the toilet and the sinks so he can just grab it and flush the toilet or turn on the sinks so he's not touching it. And we've had to turn the heater up in his house to just about 80 degrees. We did go through the house and we closed all the vents so when we're there we can get some sleep and we don't feel like we're in a sauna, and that way it would help direct the warm air into Ray's room. And we ended up transferring all of Ray's beverages into his room so they would be warmer because he didn't like it microwaved. And so this side effect is one that we have been told could end after a week of each infusion, or if he is hypersensitive to it, it could last the full 3 months of the infusions that he will be doing, which is 6 infusions. I do know that Dr. Merla wants to give him a PET scan after the 4th infusion, so he has 3 more infusions before he has the PET scan to see what these therapies and this treatment is doing, if it's having any effect on the tumors. So the other day when I took Ray in to get his pump removed, I got to go into the back room, the round room where all the chairs are for the patients, and I had taken a picture of it and sent it to somebody, and I said, I really dislike this room. And shame on me for saying that, because this person said back to me, Kelly, look at this room as a room of healing. And I thought, wow, such strong, impactful words, like why I was being so pessimistic and negative Nelly about it. I don't know, and that's usually not me, but this person couldn't have been more right. It is a room of healing, and I will never look at that room any differently now. And so if this person is watching that, I'm gonna say thank you, because it changed my frame of thought and my thinking, and that was what I needed. You know, somebody asked me the other day, like, how do you manage to do everything that you do on a daily basis and keep going? And I said, well, it's easy. I am choosing not to let this swallow me up. And Ray's not dying. And so I'm not gonna live like Ray's dying. That card hasn't been dealt. The card that's been dealt is Ray has cancer. Ray has stage 4 cancer. That doesn't mean it's a death sentence. It means that Ray has a fight. We need to fight this, and we're gonna do just that. And I can choose to live my life and continue living my life and keep our life as normal as possible, which isn't easy because there is a new normal. Or I can let this swallow me whole, and I can let it define how I live my life. And I refuse to do that. I am not gonna live life like Ray is dying. I am not gonna allow Ray to live his life like he is dying, because he is not. And so, does that mean that I don't have bad days? Absolutely not. There are days where I don't want to get out of bed. There are days that I am, what is the way to describe it? There are days when the fear does overtake me, and I don't let Ray see me in those days. If I have to see Ray on those days, I put on my game face and I go and stay positive for Ray. And but there are days that are bad. There are people that I call and I cry hysterically to, because you have to have those moments. I have to have them. But I am not gonna let that be every day. I am going to have my moment. I'm gonna pick myself up. I'm gonna brush myself off, and I am going to keep moving forward, because that is what we have to do, and that is what this fight is about. That is what life is about, is picking yourself up and moving forward, brushing yourself off and saying, I can do this, we can do this, we're gonna get through this, and we are. And so every day I triage my day. And I say that, and I use the word triage, because I can't live my life for the next day or next week. I have to live it for today with Ray. And so I know what I have to do today. And so I put everything in order of priority. And some days, I'm gonna be honest, and some of you may not like this, but somebody does fall short every day. And that is just the way it has to be. But if Kayla falls short today, she's not gonna fall short tomorrow. If Allie falls short tomorrow, she's not gonna fall short the next day. It is about cycling and rotating and keeping a happy medium, keeping the communication going, and telling whoever fell short that day, thank you for your understanding. I don't want you to think that you are not important, because you are just as important as Ray is. And I love you, and tomorrow's gonna be a better day. I promise you that. And that is what I tell each person that falls short on whatever given day. And there are days where Ray has to fall short, and I can't. I'm one person, and I cannot neglect Allie and Kayla and only focus on Ray and always make him the #1 priority. Ray is 28. He is a strong person, and he understands fully that there are days where he is gonna have to be on his own. I will set him up the best that I can that day, but that day, my focus has to be toward Allie and Kayla and giving them what they need so they can go through this in a healthy, emotionally stable way. And so, and I think keeping happy things in our life helps, not doing away with traditions and Christmas things, because when you do away with that, then it's letting the cancer define our life. And I'm not gonna do that, and I won't let Ray do it. Ray does it to an extent because he has to, because he's sick right now, but when he's not sick, he's not living like he's sick, and I won't allow him to. And so with that, I wanted to just come on, give you all an update of how we are all doing. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for your continued thoughts, your prayers, your positive energy, your positive thoughts, your well wishes, whatever it is that you believe in. I want to say thank you. I respect it. I appreciate it, and continue it. I will ask that, because so many of you are doing these things for us, if you just continue to do it, and let's focus on what that PET scan is going to say in about 6 weeks. That PET scan is going to show that this therapy and these treatments are working, and that Ray is healing. And that is what my wish is for Ray, my hope is for Ray, and that is where my energy is going. And so again, I'm gonna call on all my subscribers and ask you all for that prayer, that thought, and that energy as well, because we feel it. I believe wholeheartedly that the strength that I am getting to go through this and manage daily is coming from all of the powers that be, from all of you subscribers. And so I say thank you. And there will be more updates, but I am not going to flood my channel with this, because this can be a very dark place for some, and I am very mindful of that. And so I want my channel to be a place that people can come for inspiration, for ease, for peace, for therapy, whether it's through crafting and or just maybe inspiration that they may get from me. And so that is what this channel is about. That is why I am making sure not to flood my channel with too much of this cancer, because I don't want it to be a place that people look at as a dark place that they can't handle being. I want them to see that I am getting through this, that I'm a happy person, and that crafting is really my therapy and helping me get through this, and it can help a lot of people get through a lot of things. And so with that, I'm gonna say to you, have a happy Saturday. Stay happy, stay safe, stay healthy, but most of all, you know what I'm gonna say, stay positive, please, because I most definitely am on most days. Bye for now, everybody.